My sister, 40, is a mom to 6 boys, and our relationship over the last several years has been off. She always wanted a daughter. Always. I, 31 female, remember when I was a kid and she'd talk about the daughters she'd have. She had names picked out and this image in her head of how she dressed them and such. When she met her husband, she told him she wanted to get married young and have kids young. So she had plenty of time to make sure she had at least a few daughters. They had their first when they were 22 and last when they were 34. My sister doesn't believe in having kids past that age. She said she only had kids in her 30s to try to have a girl. She doesn't believe in that. That was already a point of contention between us. She used to tell me I'd get too old to have kids because my husband and I didn't have kids in our 20s, or more specifically, my 20s. I always rolled my eyes at her and tried to ignore it. When I gave birth to my and my husband's son, there was zero issue with my sister. But now I'm expecting again, and my mom informed me that my sister wanted me to find out the baby's gender and let her know beforehand. Mom brought up how my sister had always wanted a daughter and was struggling with the idea I could live her dream, so she'd like time to process if true. I asked my mom if she was serious and she said they were hoping I'd let my sister help with names if we're having a girl once she's processed the news and all. I told my mom it wasn't happening and she told me it could be fun and my sister's got a long list of little girl names she saved for daughters. My sister called me after my talk with Mom and screamed at me on the phone for being so insensitive and selfish. She told me it was a small ask to find out the gender and let her know so she would find out if I was lucky and got a girl this time around. Then went on a rant about how unfair it is, and she knows deep down I'm having a girl this time and how unfair it is when I don't care about the gender of my kids, but she always did. My husband and I talked about it, and when I told him I wasn't sure I wanted to be around her right now, he agreed. He said her negativity wasn't good for me, and who knows what she'd do if it got the best of her. So we decided we wouldn't see her for at least the rest of my pregnancy. My dad and brothers get it, but my sister and mom are angry. My sister thinks I'm robbing her of the chance to experience a baby girl, and my mom said I'm overreacting. I tried to explain why to my mom, but she told me it wouldn't have hurt to make my sister feel included. I could see her trying to take over if this baby was a girl, not just with the name but with any decisions. Heck, when the baby's born, if we have a girl, I can see the potential for her to try and hog the baby. Not to mention the negativity about me having a girl and not her throughout my pregnancy. Am I the idiot for my decision? Not the idiot. Your sister sounds like an absolute nutcase, and your mom is an idiot for supporting her obsession with the gender of your child. I recommend setting up a will now so that it's clear that if anything happens to you, your sister should not get custody, assuming someone else is suitable and willing. I didn't even think of this, but it was a good one. If the sister ran her own body ragged just to have a girl and didn't, I'd be more concerned about a mental break if OP's baby is a girl. Is she going to try and kidnap the kid or cause harm because it's not hers? At what point do the sister's delusions get stopped? OP would be right not to let her close to her baby if the baby is a girl. No unsupervised visits, no day trips, and no family vacations. OP isn't even going to be able to trust her mom with unsupervised visits. Her mom is already pressing to let the sister have a say in naming a baby that isn't even hers. Mom will absolutely hand off OP's child to her unhinged sister behind her back so she can live out her fantasy of a girl mom. I could see her getting the baby's ears pierced, family photos, or their first haircut without OP's permission to live out her fantasy of having a daughter. I agree with others. No visits are allowed unless you are present until age 18. What else is there to say except the obvious? That your sister needs industrial strength therapy and you need a restraining order if you have a girl. I can't imagine being one of your nephews knowing they were born because their mom was trying for a girl. I'm sorry you're having to put up with this, OP. I hope things get better and I wish you all the best in the future. I, 26 female, have lived with my roommate Jenna, 27 female, for about a year and a half. We met through mutual friends and got along well enough at first. She's fun to hang out with, we have similar schedules, and for the most part we respect each other's space. The one issue? Cleaning. From day one I took on more of the household chores. Not because I love cleaning, but because Jenna is the type who will leave dishes in the sink to soak for days or let hair pile up in the shower drain until it's practically its own organism. At first I didn't mind, some people just don't notice messes like others do. If I kept things relatively tidy, she'd eventually catch on and do her part. Spoiler, she did not. I started resenting when I realized she wasn't even attempting to contribute. If I didn't sweep the floors, they wouldn't get swept. If I didn't wipe the counters, they'd stay grimy. I brought it up casually a few times saying things like, "Hey, could you grab the vacuum today?" or "Maybe we can trade off on bathroom duty," she'd always say, "Oh, for sure," and then nothing. The real breaking point, though, was when I overheard her telling our mutual friends that she was the one who keeps the place running. I was in my room, and she was on a FaceTime call with some friends, chatting about how exhausting it was to always be the one picking up the slack at home. She even told her mom that she was the only one ensuring the apartment stayed livable. That night, I asked her jokingly if she really thought she did all the cleaning. She laughed and said, "Well, I do my part." I just nodded, deciding then and there that I was done. If she believed she was keeping the place together, she could prove it. So I stopped cleaning. Completely. Dishes piled up. The bathroom sink became a toothpaste crime scene. Dust bunnies turned into dust wolves. I waited. At first, Jenna didn't seem to notice, but after about a week, she finally commented, "Wow, the place is kind of a mess." I just said, "Yeah, weird, right?" She muttered something about being busy and wiped down one single counter, before sighing dramatically and going back to scrolling her phone. Another week passed and I could tell she was getting annoyed. One night, she entered my room and asked, "So are you planning on doing the dishes?" I said, "Oh, I thought you were the one keeping things clean." She got super defensive, saying she does clean in a less obvious way and that I was being petty. I assumed she'd keep doing what she said she'd been doing this whole time. She rolled her eyes and said I was making things uncomfortable for no reason. I don't love living in a dirty apartment, but I refuse to clean up just so she can keep pretending she's the responsible one. But now I'm wondering if I took it too far. Am I the idiot for letting the apartment turn into a disaster just to prove a point? We can all agree that this is petty as heck. That being said, not the idiot. Sometimes you gotta let the chaos reign to expose the system, you know? But real talk, maybe it's time for a roommate meeting with a chore chart or something, because living in a toothpaste crime scene isn't it. Exactly, sometimes petty is the only language people understand. Jenna had zero issues lying to people about doing all the cleaning, but the second she actually had to step up and prove it, crickets. She didn't just ignore the mess, she expected you to cave first so she could keep coasting. And when you didn't, suddenly you're the bad guy. Classic, not the idiot. If she wants a clean apartment, she can finally start pulling her damn weight. I'd just start dumping the dishes in a garbage bag and leave crap in her room, including the dirt and dust bunnies when I clean. That's my level of petty for this as someone in a similar living situation. She will change her tune real freaking quick. I sincerely doubt it. People like her do feel entitled to other people's labor. Why should she, a clearly superior and splendid being, stoop to cleaning when that's obviously the job of a mere peasant, a less splendid creature than her? You cannot reason or talk sense into people like this. Believe me, I've tried. Get another roommate. I'm 42 years old and male. My wife Brenda is also 42. We've been married for 3 years. On Saturday, Brenda and I decided to go out for dinner. Since our area has some unseasonable warmth and the restaurant was only a block away, we walked. The problem began when we approached a traffic signal. It was a green light, and as pedestrians we had the right of way. But when I double-checked if it was safe, I saw a woman in a giant SUV slowly making a slow right-hand turn into our crosswalk. She was staring down at her phone, clearly not watching the road. I told Brenda to stop, but she was looking at her phone too, not paying attention. I made the call to physically pull her back as the woman in the SUV turned. Brenda dropped her phone in surprise. For some reason beyond my understanding, Brenda was furious at me. I explained that the woman in the SUV would have run her over, but she demanded that she had the right of way. I asked her if being right is worth getting run over, and Brenda insisted that that was beside the point. This argument put her in a foul mood. I almost just cancelled dinner right there, and in retrospect, I should have. Well, we got to the restaurant, sat down and ordered our entrees. Brenda ordered fish, which was extremely unusual for her as neither of us liked it that much. She then began staring at her phone, refusing to talk to me. When our food came, I immediately began digging in, but Brenda did not. She kept staring at her phone. I told her it was getting cold, to which she responded, About 45 minutes later, I had long finished and Brenda hadn't touched hers. She then looked up from her phone and said, "Here, I don't want this anymore, you have it." She pushed her plate over to me. I told her I was already full, but Brenda was adamant that I had to eat it. I then elaborated that I didn't like fish in the first place, but Brenda said it was my fault she wasn't hungry, so I should eat it. I suggested we take it home, to which she gave some nonsense response about food poisoning and safety. I put my foot down here saying no, that we were leaving it if everything else was off the table. I paid our bill and walked out as Brenda followed me, clearly in an even worse mood than before. This all happened on Saturday. It's now Tuesday evening and she still refuses to say more than 2 words to me. I don't know what I should have done differently here, if anything. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but your wife is. She ordered food that she knew you didn't like. She refused to eat it. She tried to force you to eat cold food that you don't like because of her perception of your wrongdoing. Do you always get punished for what she sees as your wrongdoings? Marriage should not be this exhausting. Absolutely this, and the fact that she spent the whole dinner on her phone shows exactly how selfish and self-centered she is. And people walking up to a traffic intersection with their face stuck in their phones deserve what they get. It's really a shame that the screen on her phone didn't shatter when she dropped it, but she'd probably make OP buy her a new one. Early 40s and only married 3 years. OP, is this the first marriage for you both? OP, honestly, that would be the end for me. She has zero respect for you at all. Manipulation, or whatever it is, I'd certainly not hang around for a 4-year anniversary. She is abusive. Seriously, you're much nicer than me. If she pulled that crap on me at the restaurant, I'd have eaten and left her behind with a bill. There's something wrong with her. So here's the deal. I, female 32, have been married to my husband 34 for 7 years. We've always had a pretty good marriage, or at least that's what I thought. Like, we've had our issues, sure, but nothing I thought would lead to this. He's always been loving and I've always trusted him, or at least I did. Last weekend we went grocery shopping and on the way back he decided to stop at the petrol station to fill up the car. I stayed in the car since I was checking something on my phone. Normally I wouldn't snoop through his stuff, but for some reason I noticed his phone buzzing on the seat. Something just fell off, so I picked it up. I didn't expect anything weird, but the moment I saw the message preview, my heart dropped. It was from someone named Sarah, a co-worker of his. I recognized the name but never thought much of her before. The message said, "Can't wait to see you tonight." I froze. I mean, who the heck is this? And why is she sending messages like that to my husband? I felt like I couldn't breathe. I know I should have just put the phone down, but I didn't. I unlocked it and read through the whole conversation. It was all flirtatious, dirty texts. He was sending her all this stuff, and it was clear they'd been seeing each other for a while. I could barely see straight. My whole world just fell apart. When he returned to the car, I didn't say anything at first. I was just numb. We drove home in silence. But I just couldn't hold it in when we got inside. I asked him straight up, "Are you sleeping with Sarah?" His face went white. He started stammering, trying to deny it initially, but eventually he admitted to everything. He said it was a mistake and that it wasn't supposed to go this far, but it did. He begged for my forgiveness, promised he cut all ties with her, and said he was sorry and it would never happen again. But all I could think was, how could you do this to me? I was just devastated. I didn't know what to say and I couldn't even look at him without feeling sick. I asked for space to think things over, but now it's been days and I just can't get past it. I don't know if I can forgive him. I don't know if I can trust him again. I feel like everything we built was just a lie. He's been apologizing non-stop, telling me he loves me and that he'll do whatever it takes to make it right, but it doesn't change the fact that he betrayed me. I've been thinking about divorce a lot, but then I feel guilty. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm just too hurt right now and need time to process. I love him, but I'm so angry and hurt and I just can't stop thinking about what he did. So, am I the idiot for wanting to divorce him after finding out? Or should I give him a chance to make things right? I'm so lost right now. Not the idiot. He's a lying cheater. Cheating is never a mistake. After cheating the first time, the next will become easier and easier. The only way is to divorce and take him for everything. You only need to talk to him about when he's moving out and a forwarding address. Yep, he's not sorry he cheated, he's sorry he got caught. He was absolutely going to have intimacy with her that night if you hadn't seen the text and confronted him. If it was a terrible mistake that wasn't supposed to go that far, he would have stopped it before you found out. Divorce him. OP, women don't need to put up with this level of disrespect from men anymore. You are not the idiot. Divorce and keep your dignity. Stay and you lose his respect even more than you already have. He'll never stop. I'd rather be single for the rest of my life than subject myself to this level of mistreatment from some clown like your husband. I, 28 male, have been living with my younger brother, Jake, 25, for the past 2 years. We split rent and bills evenly and it's been working out great. Jake has been dating his girlfriend, Emma, 24 female, for about a year. I don't have an issue with Emma, we get along fine, but I wouldn't call us close. A few weeks ago, Jake sat me down and told me Emma was pregnant. I congratulated him, but then he hit me with the real reason for the conversation. He wanted Emma to move in with us for now so they could save money. He promised it would only be temporary, 6 months max. I asked what their long-term plan was, and he admitted they didn't really have one yet, but he figured we'd cross that bridge when we get there. I told him no. Our apartment is a 2-bedroom and I like my space. I also don't want to live with a newborn who's crying at all hours of the night. I said I understood their situation, but it wasn't my responsibility to make room for their growing family. Jake argued that since I don't have a partner or kids, it wouldn't be that big of a deal for me. I told him that was exactly the point. I don't have those things because I enjoy my peace and privacy, and I'm not about to give that up. Emma hasn't said anything to me directly, but she's clearly upset. Jake, on the other hand, is furious. He thinks I'm being selfish and making things harder for them when I could easily help. He even accused me of abandoning my future niece or nephew before they're even born. It's not fair for me to be guilt-tripped into this, and now I wonder if I'm in the wrong. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If he's man enough to start a family, he needs to be man enough to provide for them. Don't be guilted or bullied into allowing her to move in. Even before the baby comes, the dynamic will change instantly. Things will never be the same. Stand your ground. It's not going to be temporary, and he knows it. Absolutely right. Why can't Emma stay where she is until they figure things out, or he can move in with her if she has a place with or without roommates? Or, shocking I know, why can't they go find a place of their own? A 1-bedroom between 2 people would cost about the same as a 2-bedroom between 2 people. Why involve OP at all? It seems unnecessary, and the long term is not easier for them. Moving with a baby sucks. They need to do it now and leave OP alone, as this is not his issue to help them fix. Their solution is just ridiculous. The only reason that comes to mind is Jake and Emma want OP to continue to half versus 1/3, which means they would come out ahead at OP's expense. Nope, don't do it. Not only do you not want this, but it is really not necessary, even short term. Have you checked your lease, OP? Make sure you look into your guests clause. My lease specifically states no overnight guests. My landlord made an exception for my sibling and his SO during a bad flood season, but only because he was asked ahead of time, and we were fully expecting a no for an answer. Your brother may want to move his girlfriend in, but that doesn't mean he can move her in.